the Inquisitors project images of Taylor, their shared memory, on the wall behind them, while Brent is supposed to be kind of pulling Nova back to life. And she looks past him, sees the images on the wall.
Taylor!
And her lips are mutely framing the name Taylor.
Oh!
I just want to say, and then they show a little 10-year-old Brent, and this is when you poo-pooed your pants.
Brent, which he, lacking hindsight, cannot lip read. He wonders, has he both hurt and harmed her? She lifts her head and points with feeble urgency at the images, and he begins to look around. He is looking behind and above him at the blank projection while he looks down again at Nova, and it's just kind of like, what a weird moment. Like this whole time for her was following Brent to find Taylor.
Who she lost
gets
earlier.
choked, she gets kissed, and then choked to unconsciousness. And then he cradles her up as if he's her savior, and she's supposed to look beyond him and go, Taylor.
Does this not altogether feel like this is the Carol Burnett skit? That's just the way they did
their sequel to Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that somehow they put it together, because that very thing is just so melodramatically silly.
That was bad. It'd be bad.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if Nova didn't have the propulsion of what her story thrust is to find Taylor. If they could find a way to communicate that she's always going, because we've talked about it before when she's in Cornelius and Zira's hut, that she just sits on the ground and eats an apple. She doesn't seem like she's really passionate about anything, but at least Nova would have had something if she continued striving to find. It would make what they set up at the start of the film. If she'd continued to say, "I want to find Taylor," somehow that would have been very, very interesting for her.
And it would have the kiss would have been more dramatic.
And she could have pushed away at it.
Exactly, in the sense that she was, you are not Taylor.
If
you
are the dog tags more of her pointing at it,
right?
Just,
Right. Yeah. He taught her his weird, when he stroked her fingers across the elevated letters, even if she just sort of, I know they're not going to make her go, but she could moan or something.
So we
maybe she's learned to say Taylor to an extent. Maybe I wouldn't mind if she had learned how to talk a little bit.
To your question about why he says the apes are marching on the city, not your question about why he knows that, but why he says that. The couple of lines before that were cut was Casplay saying, now, what may we hope for in the way of help? Brent was supposed to reply, nothing unless you set us free, me and her.
What help was he supposed to bring?
You are free, Mr. Brent, free to do what we will. Then, which is what we heard in the minute, Mendez goes, now. Fat Man says, tell us about the apes. And that's when Brent says the apes are marching on your city. So there's a moment where he asks for freedom that was cut, that would give you a sense of why he would tell the truth, or why he would say something at this moment.
Yeah,
that was cut out.
But then shouldn't his line delivery be more frantic? The apes are marching your city. They're coming to get you. And it should be like, the apes are marching on your city. You've got to let us. It should be a plea.
But why? What?
They'll crush you.
What does he? I get you've just been mind controlled into choking somebody into submission or whatever, but I just don't understand why he would think the apes are a better solution to a situation.
Well, I think, though, that if you take what I'm saying, where he's almost, instead of it being a condemnation, they're coming for you, because you're right. It's not. That does not bode well for him if they come. If he had instead, like he's had enough and he's pleading for them to, they're coming, we have to get out of here kind of thing.
That would have been more interesting.
That makes sense for that character.
It does. It does. I don't.
It would have been another thing if we had seen Brent see the army mow down enclave of humans somewhere as a lead up to coming here. He's seen them working out at their
tossing
camp.
rocks.
He saw the protesters.
What did he see the protesters?
He was watching the arena.
Oh, okay.
There were protesters.
He might have seen the protesters outside. He might have picked up on the fact that the chimpanzees were protesting.
But if somehow he had been in the cage when they had said, all right, we're going to take out this section of humanoids that have been overrunning and we're tired of it. So we see that the army is effective and can work together. Instead, we got these telepaths that can just make fire and mountains and lightning show up and it's going to scare everybody off.
Right.
What's the worry at this point? Unless we see that they are aggressively going to fight through whatever they need to.
Right. Oh, it's another lovely minute of Beneath Planet of the Apes where
27 more minutes. We can do this.
if they would just have shot what was on the page. I do wonder if they had shot what was on the page, and sure you're going to trim a little bit, but it would. I think it might have been a better film.
Yeah.
It might have made a little more sense here and there.
So the minute ends. If you were listening to the minute, you would have heard him saying the apes are marching on your city. You would have gotten Fat Man, then Mendez, Fat Man, then Casplay, then Albino, all kind of looking in the direction of Mendez, and then you would have actually begin to see the army. You might have picked that up from the music that started playing, kind of the marching army music.
Do we ever cut to the shot of the army in this minute?
We do. We do get
I thought it was
4 seconds.
I thought it was a
5
few
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah,
just a few
we
seconds
start
of
with
it.
the army on advance.
Yeah, so he says the apes are marching on your city. Boom, we see them for a few seconds.
Well, I think that's at least an interesting cut. I like whenever they're marching on your city and you boom right into it, and that's ominous. It's exciting. Can they sustain it?
We'll find out tomorrow.
Yes, we will. We'll be back for another minute of the Apes tomorrow. God, couldn't talk. Words left me for a minute.
Minute on the minute of the minute.
Minute on a minute on me. I'm Todd. They're Richard and Sean. I'm going to go learn to talk. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
Beneath the minute of the apes. Beneath the minute of the apes. Beneath the minute of the apes.